Welcome to the Daily Review. This is Razak, Senior Trading Strategist here at CMTrading, and today is April 24th, 2025, and today is Thursday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, U.S. markets extending their gains. But first, no major economic events scheduled for today. However, we do have corporate earnings for megaweight Google later today. Now looking at the markets, starting out with the Forex symbol, major pairs really tapering off on lower volume, and looking at the indices, the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ both extending their gains. Now, looking at commodities, gold retracing after having a decent bounce, and oil treading lower. Now looking at the stocks, yes, the tech stocks were strong, but let's see if we get follow through, and I'm suspicious that we won't. Now lastly, looking at cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin following through and showing some major gains on the upside to 92K. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So here we go with the Euro USD. This is what I love doing this work, because this is where you grind. You find. Trading is like a treasure hunt, okay? You don't always find all the trades every single day. It doesn't always happen with the same symbols every single day, but there's a pattern that happens, and that's where, as traders, you can take advantage of the markets. Now, that was just freebie lesson about trading, but looking at the Euro USD, we are consolidating here. We're not going higher, we're not going lower. And if we break this 132-ish level on the bottom side, okay, 113, 2-ish level, okay, or we break on the upside, 14.2-ish level, those are my parameters, okay? It's a 100 pip parameter, but that's my parameter, at least for now. It's not a major parameter relatively to what it's done over the past couple of weeks to, I would say, even a month after President Trump went with his rampage with his tariff rampage. Okay, I'm just going to call it that. All right, GBP USD doing the same thing, consolidating here after a retracement. Question is whether or not we're going to see this again consolidate on the upside, or we're going to see a further sell-off, and that's you're going to have to pay attention to all the major pairs, because one of them is going to break out first. And the one that usually breaks out first is the Japanese yen. Usually, not always, but usually. So keep it on the radar. Now jumping into commodities. Gold got a bounce, okay? A decent bounce to its 30-day moving average. Easy peasy Japanesey. This is very simple trading. You could have just shorted it at that bounce 33.60-ish level down to 33.2. That's not bad. 33.20, that's the $40 move. Not bad at all. Crude oil sliding lower from yesterday, okay, from 65 down to 64. A decent retracement. Very choppy market. I wouldn't jump on oil. Now looking at the U.S. markets, okay, we're going to take a look at the NASDAQ, because the NASDAQ has shown some strength here. But will it show us continued strength on the upside? I'm suspicious it won't. We are forming what we call a wedge formation, okay, which is something that looks like this, okay. I can't draw it, unfortunately, on the chart. Let's see if we could just at least do that. Okay, you could see just very faintly some of the arrows and the lines that I'm drawing on the chart. Okay, when it does that, it's going to have a breakout in either direction. So if you're fast enough and you catch it early enough, this is really potentially a decent trade, okay? It could even break out to the downside. Now looking at, the Dow Jones, okay? It did taper lower, okay? Where the tech stock showed some strength yesterday, the question is whether or not they'll have a follow through. Looking at Apple, it did have a big gap up, a second big gap up, but it sold off during the day. If we look at Facebook, also had a gap up, okay? Everything just gapped up yesterday. Doesn't give you much of a potential to trade it when it gaps up. And you see, most of them were down on the day, even though they gapped up, okay? Which means that there may still be some sell-off, okay? If you look at Amazon also, everything gapped up, but it's a red bar, which means that they sold off throughout the day. Okay, and let's take a look at NVIDIA, same story. Okay, did have a second gap up, but sold off, which is not a very promising sight. Okay, I'd like to see it follow through, and my suspicion is the market's going to go even lower. Okay, at least for the short term. And we do have FOMC coming up next month, so that's an important event. So with everything said and done, this may still be some downside momentum before we get there. Now, lastly, looking at Bitcoin, it's shrugging this stuff off. It's showing strength. continued move to the upside for the third straight day. 93K hit 93,300-ish level, and then retracing to 92,300-ish level, just 1,000 points below it. Okay, this may be the end of the move because we are at resistance-ish area, so keep that in mind as we're looking at Bitcoin. This is Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.